You know, if a celebrity, a Kardashian is promoting a product, they're getting paid millions of dollars to do a post. And so it's less authentic. It's like less trustworthy. And that's trust is a big factor in conversion. These smaller influencers, it's usually people with less than 100,000 followers. Their audience is more engaged. They're following them because they really enjoy the content they're producing or they trust them in some capacity. When they post something, people do some sort of action. They might like it, they comment it, they share about it. And engagement on a post is the biggest correlating factor to conversion. Do an initial promotion with Stack Influence, test out the waters, give them a free product, get some content, see how they perform, see how their audience reacts to the product, and then incentivize them to start consistently promoting your product on the Amazon affiliate program. If you incrementally build up this internal community of people who are consistently promoting your product, you can really create this amazing marketing engine that works in the background of your business. Influencer marketing is one of the best strategies to provide data to Amazon. And so the faster you can provide the high converting sales data, the quicker Amazon's going to not only rank you, but leave you there.
Hello and welcome to Seller Assistant Talks. I'm Oleg Kuzmenkov, the founder of Seller Assistant, our tool designed for searching and analyzing products for wholesale and online arbitrage on Amazon. We help thousands of sellers to run and grow their business. In this podcast, we dive deep into the world of Amazon selling, sharing insights, tips, and strategies to help you succeed. We bring in industry experts, successful sellers, and partners to share their knowledge and experiences. In this episode, we are going to talk about influencer marketing strategies for e-commerce, evolution from celebrity promotions to micro and nano influencer collaborations, product seeding to launch e-commerce brands, and strategies to drive sales, not only to Amazon, but also to your own websites. We have a great guest today. His name is William Gasner. He is a CMO of Stack Influence, 6 times founder, 7-figure e-commerce seller, featured in publications like Forbes, Business Insider, and Wired. If you like this subject, hit the like button right now and subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this. And leave your comments below, ask your question, and we will definitely answer. I'm so happy to speak with you today, William. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on.
I have a lot of questions to you about influencer marketing. What it is, and how it works, and how it helps Amazon sellers to grow their business.
Absolutely. Let's dive into it. So super high level, a little background on myself to what you just mentioned is used to be an e-commerce seller myself, 7-figure seller, sold a huge amount specifically on Amazon. And that led me to start my current venture, Stack Influence, which connects e-commerce brands to micro and nano influencers and helps scale and automate the collaborations between both. With a unique focus actually on e-commerce marketplace platforms like Amazon, Walmart, Target. And the reason we started that and started Stack Influence in general was because we were utilizing a lot of influencer techniques for our own brands, realized there was a lot of holes and problems with the process, and so started to build out our own tools to really help manage, to scale these types of collaborations, and then that kind of snowballed into its own business. Why influencer marketing is very valuable for Amazon sellers specifically is due to the fact that Amazon and any really e-commerce marketplace is a search engine, and they value external traffic signals to determine when you launch or you're listed on the marketplace, where do you get placed? Are you on page 100? Are you on page 1? How many keywords are you showing up for? How are you positioned within certain categories, right? And the way that Amazon does that is trying to figure out conversion signals, right? They only want to show the best converting, the most popular products at the top, because Amazon makes money off of the listings that are on the marketplace. And so if they're not showing the best products and the highest converting products on the platform, they're not making as much money. And the only way to determine which product should be placed within the marketplace is to figure out certain metrics about how consumers interact with that listing. And those metrics include click-through rate, conversion rate, add to cart rate, review rate, etc. And so if you can provide signals to Amazon from off Amazon, and that's when I say external traffic, that's what I mean is a sale that comes from, let's say, an email marketing campaign, an influencer promotion, a Facebook ad campaign, etc. You're giving Amazon the data it needs to determine where to place you. Because if you are just to rely simply on the Amazon marketplace to get the data, it's going to take a while for them to incrementally show you to even get any sales data or any traffic data, you could say. And so if you can provide that previously, you can kind of speed up that process for Amazon to start to rank you in essence.
You have no control what happened on Amazon, but you can influence on that by driving external traffic from different sources. And this is how you try to solve that. And it's really important to drive hot traffic, which converts great, right? If you just run external ads, you can get a cold traffic without paying attention, right?
Yes.
And this
yes.
will harm your listing. But if you drive external traffic from people who won't buy that products and they convert on Amazon, it's great for your Amazon product listing, right?
That's exactly correct. And that's a really good point to bring up is that not all external traffic is treated equally. If you are sending traffic that is low converting, it actually can have a very negative effect on your listing. So you want traffic that actually gives Amazon the data that tells it that you should actually be positioned higher. So it has to be high converting. And that's a big reason why brands utilize influencer marketing and specifically also our platform niche in essence, and I can explain why, to drive positive high converting external traffic, and it works really, really well. And the reason why it works well is so we have two main focuses at Stack Influence. And again, if you're not at a level that you want to scale things up, because that's basically what we're specialized at, as an Amazon seller, you can implement these strategies yourself. Where we focused on is micro and nano influencer promotions. So for those of you who have never done influencer marketing or don't know what a micro or a nano influencer is, right? It's basically influencers with a smaller follower base, but that's much more engaged and trustworthy. So just to define influencers in general, influencer marketing naturally, and when people think about it, they think about celebrities, right? They think about Kardashians, sports stars, etc. Millions of followers. And that's really where the trend started and why people started implementing kind of influencers is that you find someone with a huge amount of follower base, you give them the product, and they promote it to a large audience. Now, what's happened over the years is that these celebrity influencers started getting paid crazy amounts of money for promotions. And consumers started to realize that, right? You know, if a celebrity, a Kardashian, is promoting a product, they're getting paid thousands, hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars to do a post. And so it's less authentic. It's like less trustworthy. And trust is a big factor in conversion, right? You want to trust an ad, you want to trust a promotion. Otherwise, you're like, are they lying to me? Is this actually a really good product? And so why these smaller influencers, and so when I say nano or micro, it's usually people with less than 100,000 followers. Their audience is more engaged and more trustworthy just because it's a follower base of people who are like, they might know their friends, their family, or people who are not just following them because they're this celebrity figure. They're following them because they really enjoy the content they're producing or they trust them in some capacity. And so naturally, they have this higher engagement level. When I say engagement, it means that when they post something, people do some sort of action. They might like it, they comment it, they share about it, right? And engagement on a post, like actually paying attention to it, doing some action on that post, is the biggest correlating factor to conversion, right? If you're paying attention and you're actually engaging with something, you're more likely to actually convert on it. Now, they do have a smaller follower base. So the strategy behind here is that you want to scale them up. So think, instead of working with this celebrity, you could say with 1 million followers, work with 100 people with 10,000 followers, right? You have that same reach, but now you're aggregating this higher trust and higher engagement levels, as well as diversifying your risk across a lot more people, right? You're not putting all your eggs in one basket. And so naturally, because there's this added trust with these types of promotions, they convert at a much better rate. And so external traffic coming from a micro or nano influencer promotion is one of the best strategies for Amazon growth because it's unlike an ad, it's unlike a mega influencer. It converts at a really high rate and it gives Amazon that really valuable data it needs to say, hey, you're on page 10, you deserve to be on page 1. And then all of a sudden, your listing is in front of all these new eyeballs and you just increase your revenue. We've seen listings literally like 13x recurring revenue just because they got gained more visibility on the marketplace, right? And so it's a really unique strategy that Amazon sellers can implement to very quickly grow on the marketplace and especially launch new products or even push up a stagnated product.
You're talking about traffic from their social medias, right?
That's
Uh,
exactly right.
but what about video that can be attached to the product listing? Is there any way to do that with your platform?
Absolutely. And great question as well. So the content generated is an absolutely also valuable thing for Amazon sellers. Um, we actually in our platform get all the influencers to sign over rights for the brands to reutilize the content on any channel for the lifetime of their company with no extra costs. Utilizing this content across social media, across ad platforms, across marketing is a fantastic strategy. But we're seeing a lot of Amazon sellers, as you just brought up, implement it into their product listings. And it becomes an amazing tactic to also increase just organic conversion rates. So one very simple thing is Amazon pretty recently, I think they launched about a year and a half ago, something called Amazon Posts. So it's like a Instagram kind of style feed that is on usually the bottom of your listing. There's also a complete section in your brand storefront. This is why Amazon implemented this is there's been a lot of studies done on the value of social proof, whether it's on a website, whether it's on a marketplace listing, et cetera. Showing real use consumer content to new people increases their trust and increases the conversion rates of the listing. And so brands that do implement these types of Amazon posts or even just implementing some of the content into their A plus content, like their main images or videos on the listing, can have amazing extra conversion rates. And that's also very important because the formula for success is not just about driving external traffic. Once you rank, right, now you're in front of all these new eyeballs. You now also need to convert on those new people who are seeing your listing, right? If you're not competitive, Amazon's not going to keep you there. And so you want to do as much as you can to also have a very high converting listing. You need great A plus content. You need a good price point. Don't run out of stock. You have to be competitive in the market. And implementing content to provide extra social proof provides a really great way to convert on that new traffic that you're going to see. So absolutely, it's something that our platform implements for our clients. And we highly recommend, even if you're not utilizing Stack Influence, but just generating influencer content on yourself, to implement that into your listings.
In this case, I have another question. Like, if we're speaking about generating content and traffic to listings, what if you don't own brand and you just resell products? So why do resellers need those? And is it helpful for them in any way or not?
Absolutely. Also, another great question. So, resellers can get a bit complicated. There's usually two types of resellers. One that's kind of a wholesaler that will have rights to actually utilize the brand, the logo, and basically promote that brand on their own accord. And then there's other resellers that are just listing on Amazon. They might not have full rights to actually promote that brand beyond. Now, for those resellers that don't have the rights, it's content isn't as always as valuable, right? Because it's not really they don't have rights to actually promote the brand. For those that do have the rights, then utilizing that content, some can actually run their own ad campaigns. They can really drive traffic and promote social media posts with that content. It becomes extra valuable for them. But even regardless of what place you fall into as a reseller with basically your rights to the content, external traffic is still valuable for your listings. Because again, if you're reselling on Amazon, you're trying to actually make more sales for your specific seller listing account, right? And there's, for those of you who actually don't know, there's a major issue with resellers, which is, do you always control the buy box, right? And if you're driving external traffic, you want to make sure that people who are buying actually from your listing, and your listing is, or your seller's listing is actually the one that's converting at a higher rate. And so there's a strategy for those of you who've never heard of this is, if you click through into your seller account, find the product under your seller account, and in the URL, there should be a merchant ID number. If you can grab that merchant ID number in that specific URL and send traffic specifically to that, even if your listing is not the buy box winner, when the traffic goes to that URL with a merchant ID, it will always go to where you are always the buy box winner. You're always the one they're buying from. And it's a great strategy to actually drive that external traffic just to your listing and prevent basically people from buying one of your other competitors, right? So that's what we usually recommend resellers do when they implement these types of campaigns, because the traffic can actually drive to that specific listing and boost things up, right? But as the content becomes a bit complicated again, if you don't have actually the rights to even utilize the brand or promote the brand.
Your addition about the driving traffic to your listing only passing away their competitors is very great idea. And I know our users who try like research product, they usually catch in the thing like they do product research from the seller store and open the product and see only one seller with the higher price, and they don't aware that there are a lot of different sellers selling those products. But if you grab this link to this product, Amazon will filter out all the sellers who resell the same product. Amazon will show only your product with a higher price, and it will look like you have a buy box with a higher price.
That's exactly right.
What about the second part of influence marketing? I know like you are a marketplace. From one side, you have Amazon sellers, right?
Yep.
And from the second side, you have people who want to earn some money promoting products. How it works for promoters?
We actually specialize in what the industry calls product seeding on the influencer side. So product seeding is literally compensating someone for a social promotion in exchange for just a product without any monetary payment. Now, that is the only thing that brands have to actually do to work with our influencers on our platform. Literally just gifting products, sending free products, and they get social posts in return. Now, our platform has extra monetary rewards for influencers that perform. These a brand does not have to pay for, but we reward them internally for certain actions they take, certain content they produce, their frequency of actual posts, etc. So there's certain gamification features we've built into the marketplace to incentivize people, because not everyone wants to do something for a free product. But the fundamental reason why influencers participate is to get a product they actually desire. And why we built a structure like that is going back to that trust and authenticity, that high conversion, right? Which is really, really important for influencer marketing. And so what we've learned is that when someone is incentivized to do a promotion for just money, it can be inauthentic, right? Not always the case, because some people have very big values, they only promote certain things. But if I were to give you a certain amount of money, you might promote any product out there, and you might not care about that product. And so people will do promotions when it's a massive monetary incentive where that product isn't something they would ever utilize themselves. They do the post, they throw that product away or never use it, sits on their shelf, right? When someone is incentivized to do it fundamentally for the product itself, they're putting in a lot of effort, so they better actually really want the product, right? And so it provides this extra value of you can think of it as a real customer testimonial, right? Like someone's not putting in a bunch of effort for just simply a product unless they actually would be a real consumer of that brand. And so when they're doing a promotion, it's a real testimonial. And that we just find converts at a much higher rate simply because it's more trustworthy, it's more authentic. That's the main incentive for influencers on the side of the platform, is to get products they actually desire. The second is to potentially get monetarily rewarded for certain actions they take. The third is to build up kind of an influencer resume, right? Like the more brands they work with, the better results they drive. Now they can leverage that to become maybe a more what we call a career influencer, someone who's consistently getting paid for promotions because they drive fantastic results. And then the fourth reason is to create potential long-term relationships with brands. And this is another really important strategy for Amazon sellers to implement and value that they can provide is that on our platform, and regardless of if you're using Stack Influence, but I highly recommend this as a strategy for influencers in general, is to create some sort of longer term relationship. Most people think of influencer marketing as like a one-off thing. I got someone to promote, I'm done with them, right? And what you should be actually really thinking of is not just having someone do one-off promotions, but promote on a consistent basis and be incentivized to do longer term promotions. Those incentives can be in the form of product, which usually is titled like an ambassadorship. Like if you're promoting once a month or once every few weeks, we'll consistently send you free products. You'll get a box in the mail. You'll have all this kind of new inventory to test out, right? A secondary incentive is affiliate or referral commissions, right? So you already got the product. You've already created some content around it. Keep promoting that content, right? And for every sale you drive, we'll give you 10% commission of that sale. And that's a really, really fantastic way to drive sales organically and cost effectively, right? You're only paying if actually you're making money. And Amazon has their own kind of influencer affiliate program where they actually pay out the commissions from their own pocket. So not every influencer on our platform is part of that program, but a lot of them are. And so a big strategy we always recommend is like, do an initial promotion with Stack Influence, right? Test out the waters, give them a free product, get some content, see how they perform, see how their audience reacts to the product, and then incentivize them to start consistently promoting your product on the Amazon affiliate program. It solves this first important step because some people just start with Amazon affiliates off the bat, but the people don't have their product, like they've never tested out. You don't know if their audience is really a good fit. And so you kind of want to test the waters at first and then feed them into kind of this longer term affiliate funnel. And that can provide, if you incrementally build up this internal community of people who are consistently promoting your product, you can really create this amazing marketing engine that works in the background of your business and makes you really less reliant on PPC, kind of these really expensive advertising and marketing tactics where it's just like you're off to the races and you have this massive community. And there's so many examples of brands that have scaled to millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue just by creating this internal community of people who are massive advocates of the product and are promoting just for affiliate commissions.
What if I want to launch my new product on Amazon? And taking account what you say about building long-term relationships, I imagine that I need to see product first.
Yep.
Then get some data and traffic and see what works, what's not.
Yep.
Then focus on what's work and invest heavily in those promoters and maybe give some revenue share or so. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That is absolutely the exact fantastic strategy for new product launch. By the way, new products are the best use case for influencers because when you first launch, like there's 3 pillars of massive value influencers are going to provide as an Amazon seller. And as a recap to this discussion, the first is content. When you first launch a product, you usually don't have that much content about the product. No one's tested it out, etc. Right? You might even need some market research to see how people even react. So content's the first pillar of like really valuable and more valuable for a new product launch than an existing product that like you already have a whole bunch of customers that have provided content about this, right? You need social proof. The second is the external traffic, right? External traffic is the most valuable when a new product launches. Again, it works for any stage of product growth throughout the Amazon ecosystem, but a new product faces what Amazon in their algorithm calls the cold start problem, which is that they have no idea where to place you, right? Like maybe you should be on page 1, maybe you should be on page 1,000, right? Like how do you convert? And they have no data about you, right? And it takes time to get that data. And Amazon will test you, right? And you'll always see, like if you ever look at kind of ranking category BSR analyses, you'll always see these kind of waves of like, Amazon ranks you really quick and then they take you away like in a matter of hours and then pushes you back and then pushes you back up. And it's like what Amazon's doing is just trying to collect any data it can to see how the product performed. Because maybe if your product is really great, you deserve to be on that first page or like really high position. But if it's not that good, like they do not want to put you there and take sales away from something else that would be converting better. And so the faster you can provide that valuable data, like that high converting sales data, the quicker Amazon's going to not only rank you, but leave you there, right? And so influencer marketing, as we've discussed, is one of the best strategies to provide that data to Amazon. And the last thing is the longer term affiliate relationships, right? Is that like, again, influencers love testing out new things, having kind of exclusive access to stuff, having that insight to their customer base. And so really giving them these commissions, giving them products on an ongoing basis that are kind of brand new and fresh and cool for their audiences to learn about, is the third pillar of like massive growth and a way to actually really skyrocket new launches better than ever before.
What about driving traffic to your own website, not to Amazon? I know that a lot of Amazon sellers struggle. They know risk of selling on Amazon, and they try to differentiate their business. They always have their own websites, and it's like different kind of business. You need to drive some traffic, PPC, etc. But can you drive those traffic to external websites?
Absolutely. Yeah. We are e-commerce platform agnostic, meaning that we work with any sort of place you sell your product online, right? And driving traffic to a website is fantastic. A lot of people now opt into that because it's like they get hit with Amazon transaction fees. For us, we find driving to Amazon. So Amazon also, for those of you who do not know about this, Amazon launched what they call the Brand Referral Bonus program and tied it to something that they've developed called attribution links. So they incentivize people driving external traffic because they realize that everyone, if you ran an influencer campaign, why are you going to send it to Amazon and get hit with these huge transaction fees, right? When you could make the same sale on your website. And so now they provide this brand referral bonus, which can save you up to 10% of Amazon transaction fees, right? So it really cuts into those fees that Amazon takes from you. And it created this massive incentive for you to drive the traffic to Amazon because, again, if you can rank higher, like your sales can, like the multiple of revenue that you can achieve is phenomenal, right? Not to say that going to your website isn't a good strategy, right? Because you aren't getting rid of the or getting hit with the Amazon transaction fees. You're still making great revenue. You're still getting the same benefits of content. So it is a really similar formula, but we find a lot of Amazon sellers, specifically in marketplace sellers, utilize our platform because of the simple extra benefit of if you can position yourself and you can use this traffic to get higher within the algorithm, you naturally just make a huge amount of revenue. And the stat now, I think it's like 47 around percent of every single e-commerce sale in the US specifically is on the Amazon marketplace, across every other marketplace, across every other website. So it's like you got to play the Amazon game, as much as sometimes sellers aren't treated that well on Amazon. And I know from personal experience, but it's necessary to play it. And if your margins are getting hit too much, or maybe you're not competing, then absolutely push that traffic over to your website or to another channel that you might be performing better on.
What have changed in influencer marketing with the TikTok and shorts videos? How TikTok they change the industry?
One of the biggest shifts that TikTok spearheaded was the reality that anyone on the social platform, regardless of follower base, can potentially go viral. And it was a massive change. And Instagram, YouTube Shorts now does this. Instagram Reels has implemented this process. What they realized was that the follower-based model for syndicating content, right, showing content to followers, was kind of broken. And the reason why it was broken is that as social media evolved, it started out where you were only following people you really were interested in, right? Like really only your friends, really only your family, really people who you truly cared about. And then as people started to utilize social media, you started following these kind of random accounts, right? Like maybe your friend sent you some funny video and you started following that account. You started following the celebrity. But then next video that funny account posted, you didn't really care about, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden your feed got filled up with these things that like weren't that interesting to you. And then you left social media because you just like logged off. It wasn't enticing to you. And so what TikTok actually realized and where their algorithm is amazing is that they realized like if someone posted a really, really great video, super funny, super engaging, super inspiring, you name it, why should that only be subjugated to the people who are following that account? What if we started showing that video to people who weren't following them? And then if those people really liked it, start showing it to more, right? And have this kind of waterfall or snowball effect. And it became this amazing thing in the social platforms because like what happened, and now when you go on social media, what you'll see is like a huge amount of the content you're consuming is content from people that you're not following. And it's content, though, that is high engaging across the entire social platform. And what that does is keeps you kind of hooked to the platforms, which is what those social media networks want. But what it's done is it democratized kind of what we call the influencer marketing industry in the sense that like you now literally can have 100 followers. And if you produce really good content, it shifted the model of follower base is almost a vanity metric. Content is king. And if you produce good content, your post can get hundreds of thousands, millions of views if it really goes throughout the algorithm. And so it's strengthened this idea of these nano, these micro influencers, these smaller creators, which really never had that much of a pull because they were limited by the follower bases that they had. And so now it's like these people can be as powerful as celebrities, right? Just simply if they can create really quality content. And that is I would say the biggest thing that TikTok changed in the social media realm and why they've now become so big that they're competing with the likes of Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, right? And now you have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram copying what they've done, right? But and they copy it because it works.
They found a way to get you out from your social bubble.
Absolutely. Exactly right.
Let's step back and speak about how the platform works. What steps sellers must or should or can do on your platform to launch their product?
Big reason why we developed Stack Influence in general was that every other tool that exists out there for influencer marketing is pretty much just like a database of influencers. They charge you this big monthly fee to access the database, and they provide you tools to reach out to people. What we found, though, is that reaching out for every 100 people we reach out to, maybe 2 or 3 would respond to us. And out of those 2 or 3 would respond, the fees that they would try to negotiate were all over the place. And so it was really hard to lock down like a standard fee that we wanted to pay, get people on the same boat of what we wanted to do, and then even getting people to actually successfully follow kind of our guidelines that we set out and make sure they post on time in our time frame, and then taking it further and analyzing the results from everything, getting legal rights to utilize the content for our ads and marketing material. Like there was all these different steps that were really, really tumultuous. And so what we set out to solve is first is automation, and then second was scale. And so right now when a brand signs up for Stack Influence, we try to simplify this very as much as possible. They set a goal, right? So whether it's 100 influencers, whether it's 5,000 influencers, right? They set what products they want to promote. Maybe they want to just promote one product. Maybe they want to promote their entire portfolio of 25 different products, right? And then they set how many influencers they want to actually activate on a per product basis. And you can switch that up. Maybe one product has 300, the next product has 5,000, right? You can change targets. And then last but not least is they set a time frame and upload all of their product information. So like what is your product about? What's your brand about? Give us some little pitching product images. What are your kind of posting suggestions? Like in what light should consumers or influencers portray your product in? And maybe what kind of information to how to link to your actual brand, what Instagram handle you have, what hashtags you'd like to incorporate. Once all of those things are set in stone, right? And it's basically just setting goals. Literally, the platform handles the rest of the process. So from getting people to get your product, which we do through the e-commerce platforms themselves, to making sure that we communicate all of the details about the posting suggestions, answer questions about the products that they might have, make sure they actually submit their post and it's done properly within the time frame, and then analyze all of the results for the brand. And so brand sets goals, brand gets access to a very simple tracking dashboard so they can monitor how everything's progressing, very easily see all of the content that comes into the platform, click in to see actually what the real social posts are, analyze all of the social metrics that are happening, identify top influencers who are promoting for them, and handle all of the rights to get content so that they can repurpose it on ads, have a database of all the influencers that they can now reach out to engage with in the long run as ambassadors, affiliates. So try to make this simple that was all inclusive, simplified for a brand so that they don't need literally a single extra person on their team to implement this and then also do it at scale. Like a lot of other platforms are very limited with how many influencers they can collaborate with and do it cost effectively, right? Like we only do product seeding, it's standardized, there's no negotiation for fees. The brand goes into the platform knowing exactly how much they're going to pay for, and they can actually accomplish thousands of promotions a month if they actually desire, which is unprecedented in the industry.
Sounds great. So how to start? What is the link to the website?
Simply start, go to stackinfluence.com, top right hand corner, it says sign up. We prompt you to get on a call with our team, and specifically because we just want to understand your growth objectives and give you recommendations for best practices. We've dealt with thousands, hundreds of thousands of campaigns, and we want to make sure that you know the best way to kind of move forward, which products are in great stages for growth, figure out where you're trying to grow, what your objectives are. Some people really are trying to do this for content. Some people are trying to do this for Amazon growth. Some people are just trying to do it for overall awareness. So figuring out where you're at, you'll get on a call. You'll very simply set your goals, and then we're off to the races. We can usually get a campaign live within 48 hours if you give us content and set goals in a fast way. And then feel free to always connect with me on LinkedIn at William Gasner. Find us on all social media platforms at Stack Influence. And even feel free to send me an email at william@stackinfluence.com.
Thank you, William, for such interesting subject. It will be interesting to learn a little bit more about influencer marketing on Amazon. And guys, I have a special link for you with a 10% off for your very first order, or how it works with you?
10% off any campaign that you sign up for through that link. So definitely take advantage of that.
Thank you everyone who joined us today. I hope you find this episode valuable. If you find this interesting, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ask any question. We will answer all the questions you ask. Give a try to Seller Assistant. It helps to grow your Amazon online arbitrage and wholesale business. See you in the next video. Bye.